Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This will be my first video, and seeing as it's my first video, I wanted to cover something special, something that I hold close to my heart, that my grandparents introduced me to, so big thanks to them. It's actually The Walking Dead. So, just before we get to that, quick little thing on this channel, obviously, we'll be covering The Walking Dead. We'll also be covering Doctor Who and Doctor Who related news and content. As you can see, I'm a big fan. Got my Sonic there. We'll also do other stuff like DC comics that I'm reading at the moment, Marvel comics that I'm reading at the moment. So there's going to be plenty of that to come. But let's jump straight into it. So, first things first, I want to say I am a big fan of Walking Dead as a comic form of media and as a form of TV. Now, I will be doing a video in the next couple of days discussing the latest trailer with regards to The Ones Who Live, which is the latest spin-off as of recording this with Rick and Michonne. But for the meantime, I wanted to go over briefly the comics and my personal collection so far. So I've actually got this here with me. This is book 1, Days Gone By. And this was originally written by Robert Kirkman with Tony Moore. Now, over here, I'll let you into a little secret here. I have the first of the 4 20th anniversary box sets. Now, I will be doing reviews of these at a later point, but obviously these are very awesome, and I picked these up late last year. So we've got these, and after book 1 was released, they swapped out Tony Moore for Charlie Adlard and Cliff Rathburn. Do apologise if I butchered your name. And so each of these box sets contain 8 books, and each book contains 6 issues, besides the last one, which contains 7. So, what is the story of The Walking Dead? It's a pretty simple one, actually, but I think everyone takes away something slightly different. So, I took away a story of family, and especially being introduced to the TV series first, I took away that idea of found family, and that's quite a profound message, especially as you find later on when you have the deaths of certain characters and other people come together and they form these communities. So I find that for me personally, there's heavy ideas of found families. In the comics, more so than the TV show, there's definitely an idea of anyone can go at any moment. I know that after seeing all 11 seasons of The Walking Dead, I then moved on to the comics, and some of the events just hit different. And it's just, I mean, yes, they are the same thing, but it's 2 completely different experiences. So I found that if you are a long-time fan of the show or the comics, give the other one a try. Now, obviously, you've got the different types of comics. So you've got The Walking Dead. You also have, if you'll just excuse me for one moment, The Walking Dead Deluxe. So this is the original comic. Now this is the newsprint edition, which I picked up in 2023 for the 20th anniversary. So the colours are a little bit off, but whereas the original was in black and white, this is reprinted in full colour with the added bonus of letters, and I believe there's also some notes and cutting room floor from Robert Kirkman with the artwork in the back as well. We did get some bonus artwork there. So there's a lot to unpack in each issue, and I will be doing probably more reviews on the books in the future. But as you can see, they've also done next issue, which is already out, because this was in 2023 compared to 2020 when the deluxe edition started. So there is also that. Oh, I did forget to mention you've got the original covers on the back, which is awesome, if I do say so myself. So, the world of The Walking Dead. There are two very distinctly different sections of the universe. First of all, you've got the comics, which ran from 2003 to 2019. They ran for 16 years and a total of 193 issues. Now, they had planned for more, except they were never actually released because Robert Kirkman wanted to say, actually, they're not happening. It was just to trick people from thinking it would go on for longer than it did. And then you've got, and it saddens me to say this, but you've got the Walking Dead universe, which me personally I was introduced to. I was introduced to it by my grandparents when season 7 came around, and they'd bought the box set seasons 1 to 7, and we sat and we watched the whole thing one summer, and they surprised me with the box set of season 8 as well, and we watched all of that. And the first time I was up to date was watching season 9 live on TV with them. And it used to come out on a Monday, but I used to go around there at the weekend and we'd watch it Saturday night. I hold it very close in my heart, but I do think that it's gone on for just slightly too long, me personally. I think that perhaps, obviously, you've got the cancellation coming around with season 11. I think that perhaps it should have maybe stretched season 11 out into 2 seasons and ended after season 12. Now, unfortunately, fortunately, we love The Walking Dead. We did also get the spin-offs. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the spin-offs here because I haven't actually finished Fear the Walking Dead yet. And I've also not seen World Beyond, and The Ones Who Lives is coming out soon. But we do have to talk about them very briefly. So you've got the main show, which ran from 2010 to 2022, I think. Yeah, 12 years. And then you've got Fear the Walking Dead, which started, I believe, in 2015. I'll go Google that quick now. Fear the Walking Dead, yeah. 2015 to 2023 with 8 seasons. Then you've got The Walking Dead World Beyond, which was the 3rd spin-off, which only lasted 2 seasons. And I haven't seen it yet, but I have got the box set somewhere over there. And I do need to watch it before the Rick and Michonne spin-off, The Ones Who Live. Because the World Beyond spin-off introduces the CRM. And the CRM are this almost like big bad that the Walking Dead universe is building towards. They're the people who Jadis shipped off Rick in the helicopter in season 9, episode 5, What Comes After. But we'll get to that. And then you got the 4th spin-off, which didn't do too well, and I still haven't completely seen it. I only watched it for like episode 3, which was Tales of the Walking Dead, which was a like a what if 6 different episodes, all featured around different characters throughout the outbreak, sort of like just random people really, besides episode 3, which focused on a character called Dee, who is also Alpha, but again, we'll get on to her. So you got those 4 spin-offs, and then you have this big finale for The Walking Dead. Season 11, episode 24, Rest in Peace. Now, that is also the title of the last volume in the comics, which is 32. Yeah. So book 32 in the comics is called Rest in Peace, and it's the final part of the Commonwealth arc, and it's the be-all and end-all, really. But in the case of the Walking Dead show, it's not, because you've got this big swan song ending where they blow up the Commonwealth with all the zombies in, and it skips to a year later and everyone's fine, except it's not really an ending, because you've got Daryl going off to find Rick. You've got Rick who's out somewhere and Michonne's out trying to find him, and then you've got Maggie and Negan, who we know are going off 5-6 years down the line to find Herschel Jr. So it's not a definitive ending. It feels more like a series ending, a season ending, not a series finale. It doesn't tie things up nicely. It sort of branches off into this universe now. So then that leads us to the 3 latest spin-offs. We've got Dead City, which I think also went through like name changes and production issues. It was originally called Isle of the Dead. The Walking Dead, Isle of the Dead. I'm not sure how I feel about the title, honestly. Isle of the Dead, Dead City. It's just like The Walking Dead, Dead City. It sort of works. We'll allow it. And that was I watched that and I thought, I had low hopes, and it didn't hit the highs that The Walking Dead did hit. But it was good. I liked it. And then they had to go and say they were doing a season 2. And there's been rumours of season 3 and 4 and 5. But at the moment, I'm hoping that it's just going to stick to season 2 to wrap things up nicely and possibly link into the other spin-offs. Then you've got the Daryl Dixon spin-off, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Now, I was really conflicted about this one, because on the one hand, I absolutely love Daryl, and I've got a replica of his jacket with the wings on somewhere. I'll find that for a later video covering my Walking Dead inspired items of clothing. So you've got Daryl, who's great, but he's in France. Now, don't get me wrong, I love zombie fiction that's not set in America, because you get so much of it and you just don't see anywhere else. I mean, you've got 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later that are set in London. You've got Shaun of the Dead that's set somewhere in a town in the United Kingdom. I don't know if you've got anywhere that's like mainland Europe though. But you've got very select places, but a lot of zombie fiction takes place in America. And whilst, yes, there's a lot of possibilities because, well, it's America, it's this massive place. You've got the cold, you've got the hot, you've got the mountains, the cities. And not many places cover that much ground and have that much influence. But getting back to the point, going into this, I had some low hopes. And I must admit, about halfway through, I thought, do I really want to continue with this? And then they had the whole thing with that kid, Laurent, and where they were going with him and where they're possibly going with him in season 2 doesn't give me much hope. I want to say this, it's my first video, but I do want to say this and make this very clear. If they make that kid the cure, I will quit The Walking Dead forever. Because that's not, again, going back to the differences, that's not what the comics is about. The comics is basically the story of Rick trying to keep his family together. And when that doesn't work, when he loses people, he always has that sense that the TV captured really well of found family. But again, getting back to the point. So you've got the Daryl spin-off, which was, so again, all of these 3 spin-offs I think originally were all supposed to be 6-part miniseries. So, not Fear the Walking Dead, that did surprisingly well and shambled on for way too long, but I can't say too much because I've only watched like to season 3, so I know. Back again to the point is that the Daryl spin-off took a risk. I don't mind the variant walkers, especially with the way that the French people are testing on them, and I think the main bad guy, Jeanette, is part of the CRM. I don't want to say too much, but I'm like 90% sure she is, if I'm remembering it correctly. So it's all, again, linking together. And then, finally, on the 25th of February, 2024, oh, blimey, 2024, guys, look out for that one. You have the Rick and Michonne spin-off, the one that everyone has been waiting for, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Now, I've watched the trailer for this, and I'll actually pull it up. Now, I've seen this trailer, and when I first watched it, I thought, this is going to be good. And then I watched it again at 0.25 speed, because I thought I saw something, right? I thought I saw something that just didn't sit right with me. Now, if you guys have ever read the comics and seen the TV show and watched both and read both, either in their entirety or in part, you'll know that in the comics, very early on, I think it was issue 27, Rick loses his hand. The governor cuts it clean off after trying to interrogate him. Now, what you'll find is that in the TV show, that never happens. In the TV show, even to date, or to the end of The Walking Dead at least, Rick has both his hands. Now, I think that was partially a decision due to budgeting, because back in season 3 they didn't have the massive grand budget that they now do. But I think also it's the fact that how is it going to look like with regards to realism if this one-handed guy is absolutely destroying everyone, like absolutely just butchering them, just absolutely destroying them. So it's a case of finding that happy medium, and I think the comics did it surprisingly well. The TV show just, it kept hinting at it, with Rick having to obviously keep, doing different things, and he was always hurting his hand. His hand was almost always bandaged up. And even in season 7, episode 1, The Day Will Come When You Won't Be, Negan was threatening to have him chop his son's arm off. So there was this big thing about it, but obviously it never happened to an actual extent in the TV show, except I think it will, because it's clearly, but if you look at the official trailer for The Ones Who Live, you can see That's Rick. That is his arm. He's missing his arm. And even if you look, I don't quite know where it is now. There. He's missing his arm. And as I look through this more and more, and each time I re-look over it, it just becomes more crystal clear to me that we are going to have Rick finally lose his arm. Now, admittedly, it is the other arm. So in the other show, in the comics, sorry, Rick does lose his right arm, so he has to deal with learning to live with his left arm. Whereas in the TV show, it does look to be his left arm. I think that's just due to the not wanting to have Andrew Lincoln needing to learn how to then do the whole left-handed thing. But there's one more shot that I saw somewhere, and it's of Rick flipping a table. I know, it's very interesting stuff. What I'll do, and then I'll show you guys. But I think this is basically conclusive proof that Rick is going to lose his hand. And I think, in all honesty, that is a major win. Because having Rick be this legendary guy, and yes, he's been beaten down, and yes, he's been bruised and battered and beaten to the point of nearly dying, like in Season 4, Episode 8, Too Far Gone, when he fights the governor. I think having him endure this injury would just be so much more sort of meaningful. And then when we finally do see him, and if they reunite, it's going to be a case of, oh my God, Rick, I love you, but you've lost your arm. What's happened? So this is the clip I'm referring. So I've sped it down to 0.5 speed, and he throws the table. But why is he not using both arms? Because when you flip a table, the table is heavy. Well, I found anyway. So, not that I'm a table flipping expert. I don't really want to be quoted on that, but there you go. So, the real question is, who cuts off his hand? Now, my bet is on Major Beals. I think that's his name anyway. The guy who's being played by John Locke. Well, that's not actually his name, Terry O'Quinn. But John Locke from Lost, which is another series that I need to finish watching. So, who cuts off his hand? Because I don't think it'll be Jadis. After her seeing him and how he fought in the war, is she really going to just bam? Who knows? So, the theories begin on who, when, because it can't have been until after he's captured at the end of The Walking Dead, why, and how he's going to deal with it. So these are all questions that we need to think about. Anyway, going back to the point, The Walking Dead, as a TV show, has, as a lot of people think, arguably shambled on for way too long. I don't think you can get too much content. I think that they're pumping out too much in a short space of time, but you can never get too much zombie content. And then, on the other hand, you've got the comics, which they just stopped. You know, they'd had these cover arts planned for issues 194, 195, and possibly 196, but they were never released. So, it's that idea of, oh, hang on a minute, it suddenly ended, to there's no end in sight. Now, there has also been rumours of one final spin-off, and I don't know whether this refers to The Ones Who Live or a new untitled spin-off that ties all of the spin-offs together in one epic battle against the CRM, or the Civic Republic military, who are the people who have Rick. So there's also that to look forward to, but that's just a rumour. And that's basically it. I've covered pretty much the whole premise of The Walking Dead. Next video, I'll probably cover a little bit of Doctor Who next time, and then after that we're going to be taking a deep dive into the beginning of it all. Next time I'm going to cover The Walking Dead Volume 1, Days Gone By. So that's what we're going to cover next time. In the meantime, as it says on the back of here, in a world ruled by the dead, we are finally forced to start living. Now, I have no idea what that means, but I take it as there's a world full of life and death, and things die and things live. But I think that truly the gift is life itself. Who knows though? So, until next time, have a great day.